The first shot wasn't fired by the aliens, it was us. And that's why they're afraid. Mila Drake stood at the edge of the wreckage, the remnants of her last mission scattered across the charred landscape. The once pristine military base now lay in ruins, twisted metal and burning debris painting the horizon with flames of red and orange. The acrid stench of burnt flesh and ozone hung thick in the air. It was a smell she had become all too familiar with over the last few years of the war. Her boots crunched over the shattered ground, each step a reminder of the price humanity had paid. She'd seen enough death to last 10 lifetimes. Yet she stood tall, her eyes cold and determined. Behind her, a group of soldiers from the 37th Reconnaissance Division followed, their faces hardened by the brutal reality of their situation. "Mila!" Captain Rook's voice cut through the air, rough and urgent. "We need to move now." She didn't turn to face him. "We've got time, Rook. The shuttle isn't going anywhere." Rook's footsteps were quick as he closed the gap between them. "Time is the one thing we don't have, Captain. The aliens are regrouping. We're not alone out here." Mila finally turned, locking eyes with the captain. His face was drawn, exhaustion written in every line of his face. But there was something else there too, something she hadn't seen in a long time. Fear. "You're right," she muttered, her voice tinged with both resolve and regret. "We've got 5 minutes. Then we leave, or we all die here." As if on cue, the rumbling sound of distant engines echoed from the mountainside. Mila's hand instinctively reached for the hilt of her plasma rifle. She scanned the horizon, narrowing her eyes. There they were. The Drami, a monstrous alien race that had been waging war on humanity for over a decade. Massive, insect creatures that towered above them, their carapaces black and glistening in the dim light. They moved with terrifying precision, their weapons charged and ready. These weren't the mindless creatures she had fought before, they were evolving, adapting. Mila's breath quickened, but she steadied herself. "Form up. We fight on my command." The soldiers fell into formation, their rifles raised, eyes flicking from Mila to the enemy. The alien forces were closer now, too close. Too close for comfort. Her mind raced, calculating the odds, the weapons they had left, the ammunition. It wasn't good. Not nearly good enough to win this fight. "Rook, set the explosive charges," she ordered, her tone firm. "We'll hit them on the flank and buy ourselves time to escape." Rook didn't hesitate. He sprinted toward the nearby wreckage, pulling the detonators from his pack. Mila turned her focus back to the enemy. It wasn't just the Drami that worried her. There was something more insidious at play. The transmission they had intercepted earlier, something about a new weapon, an ancient force. Mila had seen enough to know that it wasn't just the Drami that posed a threat. There was a darker force looming, and it had begun to stir. Her comms unit buzzed to life, snapping her out of her thoughts. "Captain Drake." The voice was distorted but unmistakable. "This is Lieutenant Char. We've lost contact with command. The situation is worse than we thought. They're preparing something. It's not human." Mila's pulse spiked. "What are you talking about, Char?" A moment of static, then the voice returned. "We've been getting out readings. A signal, unlike anything we've encountered. A massive fleet, just beyond the edge of the system. But it's not the Drami. It's something else. Something old." Her grip on her rifle tightened. "Stay in formation. Don't engage unless ordered. We need to move now." Rook's voice came over her shoulder, low but urgent. "Charges are set, Captain. The Drami will be here in less than 2 minutes. Then let's give them a reason to rethink their strategy." Mila signaled her team, and they began to move, carefully positioning themselves behind the shattered remnants of their own equipment. They knew what they had to do: lay low, wait for the perfect moment, then strike hard. The first explosion rang out, a shockwave that sent ripples through the air. Mila's ears rang, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she crouched lower, her eyes flicking to the advancing enemy. The Drami took the bait, charging toward the smoke and debris in the distance. "Now!" Mila shouted. They fired in unison, their weapons spitting plasma as the alien forces were caught in the blast radius. The Drami shrieked in pain, but their numbers didn't dwindle fast enough. They pushed forward, their weapons returning fire with deadly accuracy. Mila's heart pounded in her chest, but her mind remained cold. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. This was no ordinary battle. It was the beginning of something far worse, something she couldn't yet fully comprehend. As the last of the charges detonated, she shouted, "Fall back to the shuttle! Move, move, move!" The soldiers scrambled, firing as they retreated, a wall of defense between themselves and the encroaching alien threat. Mila's mind raced with the fragments of intel they had gathered. The Drami weren't just here to conquer, they were looking for something. And whatever it wasn't just on this planet. It was part of a larger plan, one that humanity might not survive. Rook was already at the shuttle, securing the hatch. "Hurry up, Captain!" Mila glanced over her shoulder one last time. The Drami were closing in, but there was something else, a darker shadow, a presence that sent a chill down her spine. She couldn't shake the feeling that they had awakened something far worse than the Drami. "Get us out of here," she ordered, stepping inside the shuttle. The engines roared to life, and the craft lurched into the sky. Mila leaned back, staring out the window as Earth faded into the distance. She wasn't sure what the future held, but one thing was certain: humanity had just made its most dangerous move yet. And the Drami were just the beginning. Mila sat in the cramped, dimly lit shuttle cabin, the harsh hum of the engines vibrating through her bones. Her mind raced, trying to piece together the fragments of what had just happened. The Drami attack was just the beginning, and something far more sinister was lurking just beyond their reach. The signal. The fleet. The whispers of something ancient. She couldn't shake the feeling that they had made a grave mistake, pushing forward with a mission that had no clear endgame. The tension in her chest tightened with each passing moment, but she refused to let it show. She wasn't a rookie anymore. She had lived through too many battles to be rattled by mere fear. "Captain?" Rook's voice broke through her thoughts. He stood just inside the door, his face unreadable. "We've got a situation." Mila looked up, her gaze hardening. "What's happened?" "It's the fleet. Char's message. It's not just a warning. They've confirmed it. Something's out there, Captain. And it's moving toward us." His tone was steady, but there was an edge to it, a crack in the calm facade. "How far?" Mila's voice was low, controlled. 6 hours, Rook replied. "If we don't take action, we'll be in their path before we even know what hit us." Mila's fingers drummed softly on the console in front of her. 6 hours. They didn't have that long. Not by a long shot. "Any chance we can outrun them?" Rook shook his head. "Doubtful. The fleet's using a propulsion system we've never seen before. Far beyond our tech. Even if we push this shuttle to its limits, we're not making it out of their range." The room fell into a heavy silence, the weight of their predicament hanging over them. Mila took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. They had to act, and fast. Running wasn't an option. "Prepare a briefing for the crew," she said, standing up. "We're going to need every hand on deck." Rook gave a quick nod and turned to leave. As he did, Mila's eyes were drawn to the view outside the shuttle. Earth had long since disappeared from sight, replaced by the infinite black of deep space. The stars seemed distant, unreachable, as if mocking her. They were on the brink of something far larger than any of them had anticipated. The crew had gathered in the command center, a tight, utilitarian space at the heart of the shuttle. Mila stood at the front, eyes scanning each face, reading the mix of concern and determination that reflected in their expressions. They had been through hell, but they were survivors, each of them. "We don't know what we're up against," Mila began, her voice firm, yet tinged with urgency. "But we know one thing for certain: the Drami are not the only threat we face. We've picked up intel on a fleet moving toward us. Something ancient. We don't have much time to prepare, and we have to assume the worst." She paused, letting the words settle. "Our mission is to intercept them before they reach the nearest colony. We make contact. We survive. No one gets left behind. Understood? A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, but it was Lieutenant Charla who spoke first. We'll need more than just our standard weapons, Captain. If this fleet is as advanced as we think, we'll need everything in our arsenal. Agreed, Mila said. Get the weapons systems ready. I want every soldier armed and ready for any contingency. Charla nodded, already moving toward the weapons locker at the back of the room. Mila turned to the others. I want eyes on every sensor we've got. No blind spots. No surprises. As the crew dispersed, Rook remained at her side, his expression grim. What are we really up against, Mila? He asked quietly. You've seen the reports. This isn't just another battle. This is something different. Mila met his gaze, the weight of the truth settling heavily on her shoulders. I don't know yet, she admitted. But I intend to find out. Hours passed in a blur of preparation and tense silence. The shuttle's engines roared as they pushed the limits of their speed, cutting through the black void. But every moment that passed only seemed to bring them closer to the inevitable. Mila sat in the cockpit, staring out into the abyss. Rook sat beside her, monitoring the shuttle's systems. The others were scattered throughout the ship, preparing for what was to come. Suddenly, the calm was shattered by an alarm, a shrill, high-pitched tone that sent a jolt of adrenaline through her veins. Captain, we've got a contact! Rook's voice was urgent, his fingers flying over the controls. It's them. They're here. Mila's heart skipped a beat. How many? Multiple signatures. They're closing in fast. She gripped the arms of her seat, fighting the rising panic. This was it. No turning back. All hands, battle stations, she ordered, her voice steady. Prepare for immediate engagement. Rook tapped a few commands into the console. The shuttle's weapons systems came to life with a low hum, and the entire crew braced for the oncoming assault. Mila looked to the view screen, her eyes narrowing as a massive ship appeared from the depths of space. It was unlike anything she had ever seen, an intricate design, both alien and elegant, with sleek, angular lines that rippled with energy. It was enormous, its scale overwhelming. And it wasn't alone. A dozen more ships emerged from the darkness, forming a deadly formation, surrounding them. Brace for impact, Rook said, his voice tight with tension. The first shot rang out, a beam of searing light that cut through space with a blinding intensity. Mila's pulse raced. The alien ships didn't waste time. They fired again, and this time, the shuttle rocked violently from the blast. Shields holding, Rook reported, but his face was pale. For now. Mila's fingers tightened around the controls. She was running out of time. The aliens were faster, stronger. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a fight to find out who they truly were. We can't take them head on, Mila said, her mind racing for a plan. Rook, get us closer to their flagship. We need to take out their command ship if we're going to stand a chance. Rook glanced at her, his expression a mix of doubt and respect. You're crazy. Crazy enough to win, Mila shot back. The shuttle lurched forward, dodging fire as they raced toward the heart of the alien fleet. Mila's heart pounded, the weight of the unknown pressing down on her. She didn't know if they could win this battle, but they had no choice but to try. The fleet was closing in. The turning point had arrived. And with it, humanity's last hope. The alien fleet loomed large in the viewport, a collection of dark shapes against the void, its flagship gleaming ominously at the center. Mila's fingers trembled over the control panel, her mind whirring with calculations, strategies, and a nagging question that refused to go away: what had they truly awakened? 5 minutes until we reached their flagship. Rook's voice broke through her thoughts. He was focused, but his eyes never strayed far from the view screen. We're too close to outrun them now. We need to finish this. Mila's grip tightened on the armrest. The shuttle was small, too small to face a fleet of this magnitude. Yet here they were, charging headfirst into the heart of enemy territory, against all odds. All hands brace for impact. She barked into the comms, her voice carrying the weight of the moment. Once we breach their defenses, we move fast. No hesitation. The ship jolted again, a second barrage of energy beams clipping the shields. The flashing red lights in the cockpit gave everything an eerie glow. They weren't going to make it unless they hit their target now. Mila, this is insane! Lieutenant Charla's voice crackled through the intercom. We're talking about 100 times our firepower. What if? We don't have a choice. Mila snapped back. We can't outrun them. We can't hide. We fight or die here. You know the stakes. Charla fell silent, her breathing audible through the comms. Mila's gaze flickered to the viewport again. The enemy's ships were closing in, their weapons charging for another strike. Every second mattered. They had to hit the flagship's command core before the fleet could regroup and launch a full-scale assault. This was their only shot. Activate evasive maneuvers, Mila ordered. Rook immediately shifted the shuttle, twisting and rolling as blinding energy beams flew past them, narrowly missing the hull. The shuttle's shields crackled with each hit, but they held for now. Shields are at 30%, Rook shouted over the roar of the engines. We need to move now or... The ship was rocked by a powerful explosion, and Mila's chest tightened as the shuttle shuddered violently. They were too close now. The flagship loomed ahead, a dark monolith waiting to crush them. We're almost there, Mila muttered, more to herself than anyone else. Prepare for boarding. We're boarding? Charla's voice was laced with disbelief. Mila, are you out of your mind? We don't have a choice. Get to the launch bay. We're going in. Mila didn't wait for a response. She turned to Rook. Get us close enough to board. We need to take down their command center now. Rook nodded grimly, slamming the throttle forward. The shuttle lurched ahead, dodging another barrage of fire. The flagship's massive form filled the viewport, the dark underbelly of the ship revealing docking ports they could use. As they closed in on their target, Mila's mind raced. The plan was simple: breach the command center, sabotage their main systems, and take control of their fleet. In theory, it was possible. In reality, it was a suicide mission. But it was their only shot. A violent tremor ran through the shuttle as a direct hit struck them. Mila's teeth ground together, but she didn't flinch. She'd been through worse. Rook, get us in there! The shuttle darted toward the flagship's docking port with a final surge of speed. There was no turning back now. 3 seconds! Rook yelled, voice strained. Mila could feel the sweat beading on her forehead, could hear her pulse thudding in her ears. She could almost taste the metallic tang of the air as they neared the docking port, the harsh clang of the shuttle's hull scraping against the flagship's docking bay. Now! She shouted, grabbing her rifle. Get to the breach point! The shuttle's rear hatch exploded outward, metal groaning under the pressure, and a blinding light filled the space. Mila bolted out first, her boots clanging against the cold, unfamiliar floor. The others followed quickly, rifles raised, ready for whatever waited inside. They had landed in the heart of the flagship. The air was thick with a low hum, the walls pulsing with strange, alien energy. Mila's eyes darted to the control panels lining the walls, each one glowing with unreadable symbols. Cover the door! Mila barked, as the team fanned out. Find their command center. We hit it hard, fast. The team moved through the corridors in tactical formation, their footsteps echoing off the metal floors. Every corner they turned, Mila expected to be ambushed. Every shadow, every flicker of light seemed to hold a hidden threat. Clear! Charla called from the front. Mila's eyes narrowed. They were too quiet. Too easy. Then, a door hissed open ahead of them. And suddenly, they were not alone. The alien commander appeared from the shadows, flanked by 2 of his monstrous warriors. His sleek, insectoid form towered over them, the glint of sharp mandibles gleaming under the dim lights. His eyes were cold, calculating. Human! The alien hissed, his voice dripping with venom. You think you can stop us? You think you can defy us? Mila's heart thundered in her chest, but she didn't flinch. I know exactly what we're up against, she growled, raising her weapon. And we're here to end it. Without another word, the battle erupted. Plasma beams tore through the air, ricocheting off the walls and causing the room to light up with bursts of fiery energy. Mila moved with precision, her soldiers flanking the enemy, her mind calculating every move. The alien commander swung his claws in a deadly arc, but Mila ducked, sliding beneath his reach and delivering a crippling blow to his side. She could hear his hiss of pain, the sound of his body cracking under the force. But before she could finish him off, the two warriors lunged at her, blocking her path. Mila ducked again, rolling to the side as her rifle fired, taking one of them down. But the second was quicker, leaping at her with ferocity. Rook's shot rang out, hitting the alien square in the chest. The warrior collapsed, twitching as it died. Mila turned her attention back to the commander. He was wounded, but far from defeated. "You will never defeat us, human," he spat, his mandibles clicking in fury. "We are eternal." "Not anymore," Mila replied coldly. She lunged forward, bringing her blade down with precision, ending the commander's reign in one swift strike. The alien leader crumpled to the floor, and the rest of his forces fell silent. Mila stood over the fallen commander, panting, blood staining her hands. The fight had been brutal, but they had won. For now. "Get to the control room," she ordered, voice low but resolute. "We end this, or we die trying." The shuttle's crew moved forward, securing the bridge and disabling the alien fleet's central command systems. One final push. One final victory. Humanity had won this round. But this battle was only the beginning. Mila's eyes flickered to the dark expanse beyond the ship's walls, where an unknown future waited, and a new war began to unfold.